Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce my name first. My name is Irwan Sulistyanto. I come from FKIP Bahasa Inggris Uniska Kadiri. I'm handle extensive reading class, and I would like to share my journal under the title Implementing Telegram Bot for Facilitating Extensive Reading. Thank you for Polynema, and thank you for IFICOL Polynema 2020 International Virtual Conference on Language and Literature 2020. Okay, I start the explanation. This is my background of study. Before I tell about more deeply about the Telegram bot, how the implementation is. Reading is a complex, multifaceted activity involving a combination of both lexical and text progression skills that are widely recognized as being interactive. Because reading in the foreign language is difficult, lecturer must find the appropriate technique, for instance, extensive reading. Here, extensive reading is a technique in a teaching reading which is defined as a situation where students read a lot of materials in their level in a new language. Students read for general, for overall meaning, and for information at one with enjoyment. Day and Bamford, 2004. In its implementation, extensive reading has some benefits. For example, students can choose reading material to be read by their own. They can provide reading materials by themselves, or teacher can provide it. Based on the statements before, the teacher must provide a media to facilitate the extensive reading. The media used here is Telegram bot. So, in my class, I have divided my students into two parts. The first one is if the student's NPM is odd, I ask them to read fiction, and the student who has the odd number, I ask them to read the non-fiction. So, by using their interest, and I ask them to read all materials based on given to me. Why must Telegram bot? In this modern era, the lectures still use printed media to teach reading, and students must copy after all. It seems boring if runs every day without any innovation, so it needs appropriate media. Sari, 2017. Today is 4.0 era. If we as the lecturer only give our students by using printed media, it will so boring time, because not all our students wants to read printed media. There all day, I assume that most of our students read their smartphone beside the printed media. So we as the educators needs appropriate media. So one of the best media for teaching and learning English is Telegram. Telegram, there is one feature that can be used as media for facilitating teaching and learning, namely Telegram bot. What is Telegram bot? Telegram bot is a piece of program which is based on AI and machine learning in small level. User can interact with the bots by sending comments, and they will reply back exactly what user as a chatting with a knowledgeable friend. This is from CTHI in Paputungan. So Telegram bot is a piece of program which is based on AI and machine learning in a small level. So my students only use the Telegram and click the comments from my Telegram bot, and they will get the materials from the Telegram bot. So this is how to create a Telegram bot. There are 5 steps. Find a bot folder, press start, send a new bot comment, and give you the bot name and validate with the token. So based on the background of study above, needs to describe the implementation of a Telegram for facilitating extensive reading. So this is only describing the implementing how the Telegram bot facilitate the extensive reading. The FKIP Uniska Kadiri extensive reading is one of the subject in the second semester, so it will be called the extensive reading class. Okay, the method used here is qualitative research. The qualitative research describes naturally the phenomena on the classroom. So I just use qualitative research to describe how the Telegram bot implemented in the classroom, actually for extensive reading. In the instruments are Telegram bot and blog. So I use two instruments. The first is Telegram bot and blog. The subject is the second semester of B class FKIP Uniska Kadiri, with the total student is 34 students. The result I divided into three parts. The first is the planning. In the planning sections, the lecturer create their own bot Telegram for facilitating extensive reading by seeing on the YouTube or read on the e-PDF about how to create the bot Telegram. And then the lecturer enter all materials in the Telegram bot, for example, learning contract until the final examination. So I, as the lecturer here, enter all materials on the Telegram bot. And then this Telegram bot share to the students. The address of Telegram bot is https://t.me extensive reading bot. For more details, see on the next slide. Now, this is about the display about the extensive reading. So here there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for custom comment for 8 custom comments, and my students can click one by one to access all the materials on the Telegram bot. So the function of the Telegram bot above is as the media for facilitating extensive reading. It was shared to the student when teaching and learning process, so students studied about the extensive reading materials and all the procedure based on material listed on the Telegram bot. When the students find the difficulties about the extensive reading materials, they can ask to the lecturer and their friends via WhatsApp or directly in the classroom. Why I said the via WhatsApp in the classroom? Because the implementation of Telegram bot is before and in the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic era. So this is actually my last teaching in the FKIP Uniska Kadiri, started from January and finishing on the middle of June before the Idul Fitri. So in the wireless teaching, the lecturer introduced a Telegram bot the students. The lecturer also asked the student to create a Telegram account and create a blog with a WordPress platform. All students are instructed to use the Telegram bot every time they work on the tasks. The lecturer asked to the student to collect their tasks using Google Classroom and their own blog. Why? There is a Google Classroom here. So Google Classroom is only as a media to collect all the tasks from the students. The student is to help the lecturer detect the tasks from the student easily. So the Google Classroom here only as a media to collect all tasks, not the class, not the online class. This is only the media to collect all tasks from the students. And sometimes I used to give the attendance list. Why I use the attendance list in the Google Classroom? Because it happens in the COVID-19 pandemic era. So the blog is as the media for the student to resume all material that they have read based on their interest. Decide from their interest, the students must resume all materials listed on the Telegram bot. Now, this is the display of my class in the extensive reading Google Classroom. This is from the attendance list. This is for the URL blog. This is from the materials, and this is for weekly report. This weekly report, reading report, is based on the Telegram bot and their interests. So in the first meeting, I say to my students to looking for materials based on their interests, and this is the task, and this is for UAS, and this is the result for my students in the creating for blog in using WordPress. All materials listed on these sites is related to the material listed on the Telegram bot. So I think that In the post-teaching, the lecturer made assessment and gave feedback to the student based on the tasks listed on the Google Classroom and their own blog. Because the Google Classroom, there is one feature that can used by the educator or lecturer give the assessment and feedback. So the conclusion in the entire students on the personal blog in line with the all material listed on the Telegram bot, it means that Telegram bot for facilitating extensive reading class is effective. Discussion. Based on the Clover, Square, and Jenkins 2002, there are some features of mobile technology that produce unique educational benefits. For instance, portability, social interactivity, context sensitivity, connectivity, individuality. So, based on my opinion, my Telegram bot have fulfilled all category from Clover, Square, and Jenkins. So, this is in line with this theory. And then, this is cited on the Sari 27, where she makes a proceeding about the maximizing on Telegram. And then, in this era, interaction and information technology between students and teachers have a massive use of smartphones. All the smartphones or the portable devices are equipped with social media applications like blah 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 and Telegram. This is from Abdul Karim 2015. So, I agree with this statement because all students have the good smartphone and they can install Telegram. So it can be used as the interaction and information technologies from between the students and the lecturer. Telegram bot can be able to collect the information stored in the database and deliver such information to the users. This is from CTJ in Paputungan. I also agree and I agree with this explanation because Telegram can be able to collect all information stored in the database and deliver that information to use. So my students can access all materials from extensive reading class by using Telegram bot. So this is in line with this theory, and the conclusion, it can be concluded that Telegram bot has multifunctions, not only storage of materials but also can use as a media for facilitating and teaching and learning, especially for extensive reading. It also, a Telegram bot is effective media in the 21st century because it is paperless. This is what the students need in this era, paperless. Since this is the reference that can be used for my journal. So thank you for the time to Ifikol Polinema Malang. This is my all explanation about the implementing Telegram bot for facilitating extensive reading. And the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.